Hello and welcome to the Meera Gandhi Show. Today is our 10th episode and it's International Yoga Day. So naturally our topic for discussion is yoga. Here we are on the Upper East Side of Manhattan on the rooftops and we will speak about yoga. The word yoga comes from the Sanskrit root yuj, which means to join or unite. The practice of yoga unites mind, body and spirit through breath. A contemporary website called yoga.org.nz with Simon and Dan best describe yoga. They write, yoga is a practical aid, not a religion. Yoga is an ancient art based on a harmonizing system of development for body, mind and spirit. The continued practice of yoga will lead to a sense of peace and well-being and also a feeling of being one with the environment. The practice of yoga makes the body strong and flexible. It also improves the functioning of the respiratory, circulatory, digestive and hormonal systems. Yoga brings about emotional stability and clarity of mind. As we think about this and explore yoga together further in the show, first, let's start with our calming breaths. Let's take a deep breath in and get ready to chant 3 ohms together. Are you ready? Please stop what you're doing, find a comfortable place and take a deep breath in. As we say in every show, one can chant anywhere. You need 1 minute and deep breaths. So deep breath in. Aum. 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 Slowly open your eyes. Deep inhale and release. Om is simply the cosmic sound that reflects the vibration of every living being. Now that we are calmer, let's continue to discuss yoga. Our true experience of the world is just our own consciousness made alive by breath. It's very, very personal. How then did we end up thinking that everyone and everything else except ourselves is responsible for our happiness? Well, according to Hindu scripture, and I'm a Catholic, but I love to learn from wherever there is true light, there are 4 yogic paths to reach union of body and mind. The first, Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion to another or many human beings. Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge by listening or reading, and sort of like we're exploring on the show today. The third, Karma Yoga, the path of correct action. The fourth, Hatha Yoga, the path of mysticism by utilizing breath to be aware of every moment. Even though these 4 techniques may seem different from each other, each of these offers the means to attain oneness with life and happiness and joy that we are all seeking in our daily lives. We have 3 tips today on the Meera Gandhi Show to build our yoga practice to bring calmness into our lives. The first, keep aside a fixed time for a yoga practice. It gives us real time to be still every day. Second tip, start with a simple asana and enjoy stretching your body. Creating space within ourselves is actually what increases our personal space in the universe and makes us more aware of our connectedness. The third tip, try to read something that is spiritual or calming to you, or watch calming content for 3 to 5 minutes a day regularly, which again will create a peaceful environment in your mind space. Today we will meet 3 amazing guests on our show. Integral Yoga, New York City's senior yoga teacher, and my own personal yoga guru, Inga Benson. The second is world famous DJ Donna D'Cruz. And third, we will speak to well-known chef Kunal Lal about food choices, especially in a world where we all need to eat out so often due to work or travel or any other reasons. Now, please welcome to the show, Inga Benson. Inga, welcome to the show. It's good to have you here.
Thank you, Meera. I'm happy to be here.
Let's start with the first question. What is yoga?
Yeah, so in America, as you probably know, most people think of yoga just as asana, the physical postures. However, and I know that you do know this, all of our conversations we've had in our classes, the science of yoga is much more vast than just the asanas. The science of yoga really has to do with how we train the mind. But it's the way that we approach the postures that trains the mind. So in my lineage, the primary lineage I pull upon when I work with you, we think of asana or hatha yoga as like the calling card of yoga. It invites people in, but slowly, the way that we work with the asana or the posture, we work with ahimsa, nonviolence, right? We try to work with satyam, truthfulness, and also we work with mindfulness, being aware while we're practicing. And you know, when I'm working with you, I give you subtle cues to help you put your concentration on what you're experiencing. And that's the way I teach everyone. So yoga, hatha yoga, helps train the mind.
So how are our thoughts affected when we do yoga?
Yeah. So again, I think it has to do with how yoga is taught. In many of the classes these days, it's a power yoga. So there's a lot of emphasis on challenging yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I try to teach yoga in a way that cultivates observation or witness stance in relation to the thoughts. Because otherwise what happens is we identify our whole being with our thoughts, right? Most people do that. This is who I am. It's the ego, it's the foundation of our personality. But in order to access something deeper, we need to move into that part of ourself. In yoga, we also call it Shiva, the witness awareness.
So what is the connection to the breath and the universe?
Yes. So breath is often called the bridge between the body and the mind. Another amazing thing about breath, it's free, it belongs to you already, and it's available anywhere.
Might as well use it.
Exactly, right? It's yours. You don't have to go out and find it. It's already there. So the thing about breathing is that when we do deeper breathing, it helps to calm the nervous system. Now, we need both parts of that, right? Can we take a breath together? Breath is incredible.
So is the present life connected with the past and the future? Might we speak about life as a continuum? Can you touch on that and consciousness?
Yeah. So When I think about life and past, present, and future, what it brought up for me is karma, the idea of karma. Now, almost everybody knows this because it's a very, let's say, very popular concept by now. So the classical teaching about karma is there's actually 3 types of karma. The one that we've already created, the one we're creating right now, and a little scary, but the karmas that are yet to come based upon actions we've taken. So what's important to me about that is the karma we're creating right now.
And that's what we have most control over. So that
exactly.
is what we should focus on.
Right, exactly.
So switching a little bit, today is International Yoga Day.
Yeah.
What does that imply? What is that about?
Sure. I mean, I'll be honest, Meera, a little part of me is like, oh gosh, it's just yoga could become so commercial, you know? But I think it's also very good because it really brings it more and more into people's consciousness. So June 21st is the summer solstice.
Okay.
It's the longest day of the year.
Okay, so that's the real International Yoga Day.
Well, June 21st is the summer solstice.
Okay.
And it's around that time that the yoga day is held, I know. So it represents the light, bringing the light into our lives. Because yoga doesn't mean that any physical injuries disappear or even that mental pain vanishes like a wand. What it means is that we cultivate that awareness from which we can make purposeful choices.
It is said life is yoga and yoga is life. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, sure. I think it's just how we live our daily life creates who we are and what we experience. So yoga is a practice, right? Yoga is something that we can practice through how we work with the body, bringing awareness to breathing patterns and sometimes taking a deep breath as needed, and also learning to witness and train the mind. And so when we can practice those things on a daily basis, then it helps to bring that into life.
Because then we are operating from a space of real awareness.
Yeah, yeah.
And when we are really aware, we make such better life choices.
Yeah, purposeful. Yeah.
You are always giving me excellent life advice. Do you have some closing advice for our viewers today?
I absolutely do. So yoga is really a science, and again, it's step by step, just like anything in life that you want to practice. You have to practice it, right? One of the things actually in this book, Meera, which I want to give you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Because I've shared it so often in our classes. This is sort of the Bible of yoga, the Yoga Sutras.
Oh, is this the one the sutras you quote from? Yeah. My God, thank you so much.
The Yoga Sutras.
I'm really going to treasure this.
Yeah,
thank
good.
you.
Use it. And so really, this book, it's sort of like a guidebook, you know? But the main thing about any map, you have to take it step by step. And you have to work on it a little bit every day. It doesn't change overnight, but with practice.
So make small changes every day.
With sincerity and with regularity, we make progress.
I love it. With sincerity and regularity, we make progress.
Yeah, it's actually in
Inga,
there.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being on the show.
Yeah,
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I am so thrilled to welcome to the show the amazing, wonderful DJ, Donna D'Cruz.
Thank you. Lovely to be here. Meera.
Lovely to have you. So how do you, Donna, balance energies between being a nightlife DJ and a conscious guide?
I do it with great joy and with great pleasure. I think anything that you choose to do in your life with that in mind, it becomes that. It becomes a pleasure, it becomes a delight. And I don't really separate my world as a DJ and an artist and a producer as a separate sort of life, as my role as a meditation guide. And I see those roles as sort of intrinsically linked because they have a connection through spirit. So when you actually decide that you want to travel and traverse that road with pleasure and with delight, it's not effort, it becomes just effortless.
Actually, that's true. I never thought of it. When people are dancing, they are actually one with their spirit.
Absolutely.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's funny because, and then it's the other layer to that is also when you think about alcohol, when you think about spirit. I think there's a reason it's called spirits, right? There's a reason that when we dance and when we do things that give us, let's say, other shifts in consciousness, elevated thinking, maybe movement, I think is definitely part of that whole sonic world as a vortex, a doorway to that. It's an opportunity to lose yourself, to become ecstatic. Ecstasis means to sit outside yourself.
Donna, you often speak of meditation being the yoga of the mind. What are the biggest misunderstandings about meditation?
I think one of the biggest misnomers about it is that it's work, that you have to concentrate, that you have to put effort in, you have to muscle your way in, you have to use the intellect. And in fact, the opposite is true. You actually have to let go. We use that word relaxare. Relaxare, the Latin word means to let go. So the idea is to actually let go of your preconceptions about what you think it is. You don't need to struggle through it. Like my dad, when I was first learning how to do TM, which was my first practice in the Vedantic space, my dad was saying to me, I don't need to actually meditate, Donna, because I love my garden. He talks to the birds. We call him St. Francis of Assisi. And he's that sort of a guy. Other people go for a walk in nature or play with a bird or play with their cat or spend time in a loving relationship. Anytime books can do that. Poetry, music, going to the opera. Anytime you lose your sense of your past, where you've got your sorrow, or your future, where you may have fear or trepidation, when you're here, right in this moment, you're present, just like we just did in that one breath. You're not there, you're right here. So you're actually filled with delight in presence.
And today on the show, actually in the 3 tips, we talked about that, to read something that calms your mind every day, or to watch content that calms your mind every day. So when did you realize the importance of meditation in your life?
I was a kid, actually. I was born in South India, and I grew up between there and Australia. And I had a cousin that would come and stay with us. He lived in Western Australia, and he would come and stay with us, and I noticed he would put on these white clothes, he would close the door and do this thing called meditation. I was like, what are you doing? Being this sort of precocious kid. And when he said this word meditation, I really didn't know anything about it, except that when he would come out of his meditation, he would find me sitting on the floor, cross-legged, didn't even know what that really was, cross-legged, feeling very peaceful and smiling. And I would ask him constantly what was he doing, and I realized that meditation, whatever that thing was that he did, I wanted to do it because he looked happier, he was more joyful, he laughed more easily. So that's really, when I started understanding that, which was pretty much straight away as a teenager, I realized how invaluable it was going to be, not just today, but in every way.
So where does meditation come in with an over-addicted populated city like New York?
Yes, well, and I would like to say it's not just New York, Meera. It is, our world is living in an overly tethered environment, which means most people are addicted to something. Some of us are addicted to technology, we are addicted to bigotry, we're addicted to lack, we're addicted to our stories. We all have some sort of thing that plays like a sound or a sonic almost, over and over, telling us what our limitations are. And when you look at I do look at a lot of data, and a lot of the work that I do in the addiction space around consciousness is aimed at sort of hacking how we can help people deal with that. Because when you look at anxiety levels, as overblown as they are, which are intrinsically linked to depression levels, if you look at opiate addiction and heroin levels, and even alcohol addictions, those are one of the many. We now have 113 addictions that we've identified in this country alone. When you look at all of that, it starts, to me, iterating as a topographic map of humanity, and it tells us that we lack love, we lack imbalance, we lack hope, faith in ourselves, in a future, and I realized that, if anything, meditation gives us the ability to self-love, to go from a journey that is transcendent from self-inquiry through various passages, if we're brave enough. Some people stay right there in that place of self-inquiry. Who am I? How do I do this? How do I fit in? Does my life have meaning? To sometimes into that place of self-knowledge.
So Donna, you developed the Dip into Bliss kit to help people. What is that?
The Dip into Bliss kit is a very simple, it's a meditation 101 kit. It's a modern take on meditation where we take something that's ancient and make it modern.
So what's in the kit?
It's got music, so all of the senses, all of the 5 senses are touched upon. So there is a sound, there is an oil, there is a candle, and there's a crystal. So there's something for each of the senses so that you can basically, wherever you go, will meet you where you are. So you can listen to it, you can try your oil, you can do your spritzer, you can put your candle on, take your crystal, so that wherever you are in the world,
you can create
you
that
can just
space.
you can create your own sacred, still environment. That's
I
it.
love it. I love it. Thank you for creating that. So, as a DJ, amazing DJ, you understand music so well. What is the importance of music in people's lives?
Well, you're asking the right person, because music is everything, right? Music is that part, it's a primordial thing, right? So we are born out of sonics, we know what that is in utero, and the rest of our lives when we have resonance, that's where mantra comes from. Why do we use mantra in a state of meditation? Because it is that place where we can have resonance, we have a harmonic response to something that gives us peace, that gives us a sense of quietude, that gives us a sense of something of other, should you believe that. So music is everything, like the fact that we can actually, we don't have to speak the same language and I can play you music and you'll understand it. We don't have to walk the same roads, but we can walk there together and listen to something and dance together, and we already have a sense of communion and understanding. That's the power of music.
Oh my goodness. Do you think you can share with our viewers some of your particularly amazing moments when you're DJing?
Absolutely, with pleasure. Only if you come, and if you guys all come and join and have a boogie with us.
It's a promise. We will. Thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
It's been a joy. Kunal Lal, welcome to our show. You are a food consultant on a TV show, and the show looks to recreate healthy meals from the refrigerator. You are manager of the famous Jean restaurant at the Mark Hotel in New York City. Tell us today, what foods are essential to eating healthy and maintaining health, both physical and mental?
Meera, it's a very broad question, so I'm going to give you a very crisp answer. You have to eat green and lean, and there are 3 demons you have to take care of: salt, sugar, and fat, and You're good to go.
Avoid salt, sugar, fat, eat green and lean. I love it. So eating out has become a norm.
Yes.
What can one do to make sure that we make healthy eating choices when we eat out?
Okay, so there are people who just have to eat out, right, because they're traveling or whatever. What they can do is they can minimize repeating the same things which they eat. Like, I know my friend, he always eats a burger. No, you can't just eat a burger every time. Eat a salad, eat a pasta, eat a soup, eat something steamed. So just varying your diet, which is outside in a restaurant, also can affect your health.
We are celebrating International Yoga Day today, and healthy humans form a collective healthy society. So how do we remind restaurants and hotels of this? So are we already seeing much healthier farm-to-table menus?
We are seeing some farm-to-table menus, but that's only for the privileged who can pay that price. What we need to get into restaurant world is affordability. Not every restaurant can afford to be farm-to-table. They might have intentions to be farm-to-table. So we have to do something at the farm level, at a broad level, at a government level to make sure there are subsidies so that this becomes affordable.
So Kunal, continuing on our theme on International Yoga Day today, what might be the one big food shift we might make an intention to do?
I guess eating something raw and maybe making a smoothie or something like that, which is very easy, one drink a day with green leaves, some berries, some whatever's in your fridge. That's what we do right in my show, right? Just whatever's in your fridge, which is raw and healthy, phytonutrients, berries, green leaves, make them into a drink, gulp it down once in a day, and you're good to go.
I love it. So now, before you leave us, any closing health suggestions for our dear viewers?
I have one personally guarded secret. The first thing which you have in the morning is something which lines your intestines for all day, and it affects what your body is absorbing all through the day. So, like for example, my mother, she will have a cup of tea and a biscuit in the morning. That's something which I would not do. I'll have something raw, something like a bowl of fresh fruit or a smoothie of raw vegetables, so that my intestines are lined with something great, and all day I'm benefited from the greatness.
How awesome. Thank you for sharing this insight on the show.
Love being here.
It's been
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Of course,
Thank
pleasure's
you.
all mine.
Thank you. As we close this episode on yoga, I hope you have enjoyed the collective thoughts about the ways in which we can attain happiness through yoga. To recap, bhakti yoga or devotion to another human being or living being, jnana yoga, pursuit of good and useful knowledge, karma yoga, good actions that do not hurt another, hatha yoga, breathing and living with awareness. Until next week, I wish you abundant physical and mental peace through your own yoga practice. Until next week, Om Shanti and Namaste.